Alrighty everyone, welcome back. Just a couple of days ago, we got a handful of announcements of Star Wars movies, as well as new details about Ahsoka, Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, and even, of course, many other upcoming Star Wars projects. More of which will be announced, by the way, at D23 later this year. That's going to be the real deal. This, of course, year's celebration, they wanted to focus more so on the cinema. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, obviously, the first big announcement just a couple of days ago was one of the new Star Wars films featuring Rey 15 years after the events of Episode 9. It's going to be a post-Episode 9 movie, and so far, where it stands today, it is going to be considered a one-off film. Meanwhile, Dave Filoni's movie is going to be the beginning of a trilogy for this Mandoverse-era Star Wars trilogy, so to speak. And we also have, of course, Dawn of the Jedi by James Mangold, which, by the way, he is indeed both directing and writing. That's going to take place well before the events of the Old Republic era. We're talking about ancient times here. So that brings us to what Daisy Ridley recently had to say about the fan reaction to Rey coming back to the Star Wars cinema, and we've seen a wide range of people expressing a lot of criticism, a lot of love for the return of the character, and this is something that's going to be very interesting because she had a couple of things to say in response to both the criticism and the support, but mostly how she's calling this a backlash to a degree about Rey's return to the Star Wars theaters, and how she's actually quite surprised that there are many fans out there that are criticizing her return to the Star Wars universe. Let's explain. So, with actress Daisy Ridley now officially coming back to the franchise with a new Star Wars movie in active development, Ridley recently took part in an interview where she reacted to many fans showing endless signs of criticism over Rey's return. Daisy went on to state the following to the entire fandom. I have seen this sort of backlash, since I joined the stage and since we got to finally announce our involvement with a new movie featuring Rey again. I just focus on those that support me, but for those that are heavily criticizing my character's return and are getting defensive because they don't necessarily like sequel-era stuff, then maybe just don't watch it, It's that simple, really. Don't watch a movie or something that's going to be about something that you do not like. It frustrates me many times, seeing how fans can never just be satisfied. We have some very exciting ideas that we are throwing around right now on how Rey is going to be used in the new film. We wanted to focus on it being 15 years later, so my character has sort of evolved, I guess. I don't think that these critiques are understanding all of that. I went through the same thing when people were calling my character a Mary Sue when I did Force Awakens, and would just get so tired of hearing that, and now I'm hearing the critics again. And I sometimes just have to roll my eyes because they have not seen a shred of footage and what we are doing with Rey just yet. Now let me stop right here for 1 second about what Ridley is putting out there about the supposed quote-unquote backlash of Rey coming back to the overall Star Wars universe. Now, obviously a lot of fans are going to have a problem with that because they are associating that with it being a major reminder of the sequel trilogy movies that they did not like. And it's understandable. It really is. I'm not going to sit here and say that there are no fans out there that dislike the character of Rey. There's a lot of fans out there that do not like the character of Rey. They love Daisy Ridley, they just don't like how Rey was written in the sequels, and a lot of them out there are very much, underwhelmed and very much, going through a bit of a letdown over the fact that they are reigniting that character. So, again, as we discussed before earlier, there is another Rey project in the works, a John and Dave post-Episode 9 series, in which they are literally going to reinvent Rey into their own version of the character. So I think that's something to look forward to even more. It's going to be considered a side story to the actual movie, so to speak. But I digress. The thing about Daisy Ridley is that she is the one person that usually likes to always kind of respond to both sides of the fandom, whether they support her or not. And here, she is labeling this as a sort of backlash, because she has noticed a lot of fans on social media expressing a lot of concern about her return, a lot of criticism about her return to the Star Wars universe, and how basically Lucasfilm is just putting all their cards on the table surrounding this character in this one movie. But I digress. She goes on to state the following: some of which of our ideas for the film have come to pass, and they are truly exciting. I have been talking with John and Dave also on the new series and where that could go for my character, and how it's going to be a spin-off of the film I'm starring in that will unravel more secrets about Rey and her story. But I really can't go into that anymore just yet. But yeah, it really begins to anger me when fans just get so defensive without seeing a shred of footage. I will just never understand that at all. Separate from what Ridley stated here, however, the post-Episode 9 series is set to be announced later this year at D23 for the entire Star Wars community, and more projects as well on top of that. Now, we already talked about this several times, that the post-Episode 9 series, it's going to establish that Rey's real name is actually Rey Solana Kenobi. They're going to drop the marketing of Rey calling herself Rey Skywalker, basically canceling Rey Skywalker. Again, canceling the name, not the character physically, just to be clear. And then we also have on top of that, connecting her to the Kenobi bloodline, herself being connected to Obi-Wan Kenobi's brother. That's basically the overall structure of what they're trying to do. So, it's a very interesting thing, the fact that John and Dave are going the extra mile. And it makes a lot of sense as to why they threw in that line of dialogue, why Jon Favreau forced Joby Harrell for the Kenobi series for Kenobi to mention that he may have had a brother. And through the leaks that we've been talking about, they are going to be making Rey's mother the daughter of Obi-Wan's brother. And that's the overall plan right now, making her both a Palpatine and a Kenobi. And I think that's interesting. It could work. It may seem a little far, out there, but I think it'll work if they execute it very well. They're going to have to be very careful with that, though. Now, let's be honest about this. I mean, when you have somebody like Daisy Ridley even coming out like this and saying, well, just don't watch it. Just don't watch this movie. I don't know if that's enough, guys. I mean, because it's not just about fans that are criticizing her. They can't really just tune that out. It's because they know the fact of Lucasfilm and Disney really trying to establish this character further, and they're having a problem with that. A lot of people are having issues with this. So, I'm really intrigued to hear what you guys have to say about Daisy Ridley's comments and her response to what she is calling a backlash. I'm not quite sure if you could really call it a backlash. I mean, maybe, maybe not, but it is a high amount of criticism getting bounced back to Disney right now. There's no doubt about that. And remember, guys, we've seen how many movies have gotten canceled. Who knows where this is even going to go? For all we know, this movie could get canceled again like many of the others, so I wouldn't get too bent out of shape just yet if you do not like this overall approach. So just sit back and relax and I guess enjoy the show, right? So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below what you guys have to say about all of this. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.